Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to your Dreamhack quarterfinals. I'm LD. I'm joined here today by a man who currently is not officially on a team as far as I know. We've seen him playing for Dignitas. We've seen him playing for the mysteriously named A team. Bulba, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Don't sound so excited. This is Dreamhack quarterfinals.
I am excited, man. I am excited.
I want to hear you jumping out of your seat.
Okay, I will. There's a Magnus pick, so I'm jumping.
Let's actually start this. Well, real quickly, Fnatic.EU, this is a team that I was casting them a lot 4 or 5 months ago back in the Premier League 2. I think they replaced a team halfway through the season. They really did not look sharp. It seemed like they were having a lot of trouble adjusting to the new version. Or not to the new version, but adjusting from Heroes of Newerth to Dota 2. They made a great stride since then. They've replaced, I forget who used to be their fifth, but Trixi has rejoined the team. Used to be a key component of the old Heroes of Newerth roster. And what do you think about this Fnatic team? They come in here looking pretty strong out of the group stages and certainly much improved from a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I think they replaced Nova, if I recall. But
yes, you're correct.
Yeah, they've practiced a lot since then, and I know that every day, like I'm on part of the Skype group actually that searches for scrims and stuff, and I see them searching every day. So they're pretty dedicated to doing well in Dota, and I remember they were they were doing pretty inconsistent at the beginning. Like they used to do well at some phases of the game and then totally not know what to do. But then this tournament, they completely dominated Dignitas, I think. They had a really good strat where they just run around as 5 and push, and they had like some phases of the game where I thought they might let Dignitas get through, but then they had some good team fights, and they had a really good counter pick versus Sven. I think Enigma is really good versus Sven, and so is Vengeful Spirit. So that was interesting to see.
Yeah, we've also seen Faceless Void as a bit of a counter to him and Magnus. Sort of, you know, this is something actually that came up. I don't know if you had a chance to watch this video, but IG, there was some footage recorded of them in between games 1 and 2, the semifinals for the G1 League. They were actually kind of arguing, a little bit frustrated about their first game lost to LGD, and one of the things they talked about was they were running a face rush lineup. That's what we see from Fnatic. Night Stalker, Magnus, it's basically a lot of tanky melee heroes that just want to jump you immediately and try and burst you down. Very aggressive tower diving, you know, the Sven, Bounty Hunter, Night Stalker type of lineup. And they said there are certain heroes that really counter that. Enigma is a big one. Twin-Headed Dragon was something they mentioned. Obviously Darkseer to some extent does, but I think Faceless Void, well, I don't know if we'll see him this game, but he has emerged as kind of a unique pick. But before we talk more about the draft, WhA Asian. This is, I think, a bit of a surprise for some people that they even make it into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think both Mao's and the other team, Empire, was predicted to win that group. But Mao's arguably, I think they played pretty awful today. Like, their picks were awful. I don't know. I expect more from that team, having the players they have, which is like Kuroki and Black and etc. But they haven't really impressed me lately. And I remember watching that video. I think it was the one where like Ferrari was yelling at them or something for not smoking mid and cursing. It was pretty entertaining, and it just kind of shows like how similar they are to how we are too when we complain about games and when we talk about them. So they had the kind of the same concepts, but they had some interesting things in there. And I know YYF was like talking on one side and Ferrari was talking about something else, and they were arguing. So it was pretty entertaining. But Night Stalker is a hero that he does give you that positioning going on, and even if he completely gets dominated in mid, he can still do stuff because he has a silence, he has insane mobility, and he just needs a BKB to just be annoying to play versus. And he's a good hero versus Darkseer and stuff, heroes like that.
You know, you mentioned the BKBs, and something I've actually seen, this has been an issue in quite a few games I've cast in this event, and normally it's sort of the more experienced teams which seem to get this edge, but the lineups that pick Magnus often seem to have another stun that goes through BKB, whether it's an Enigma, whether it's a Beastmaster, and it doesn't seem like their opponents, or even a Faceless Void, and it just doesn't seem like their opponents have any answer for it. And I gotta ask you, you know, how do you deal with these lineups that just have so many, I guess they're called superior magic stuns, that go through BKBs? If you try to initiate upon them, it doesn't work after the mid game. Do you just have to win the lanes? Is there, like, how do you go late against a Magnus Enigma? Do you try and bait the ults? Wisp? I mean, what do you think we're going to see to try and combo this? Because Magnus is winning almost all of his games in this event. I say that just from my anecdotal experience. I think I've cast one game that a Magnus has lost, and I want to say he's won like 7 or 8 games. I'm surprised he's not banned, but how do you deal with this much AoE? How do you deal with this much superior magic?
I think you have to beat him on the laning phase. I think most teams put him mid or put him on the off lane, and he actually doesn't do that badly mid versus heroes like what TA and stuff like that. I know Queen of Pain completely dominates mag mid though, so maybe they should try. They should put a hero that can mutually farm mid versus the mag. And another thing is, I think DK actually had a good thing going on versus the mag. They had both Furon and Void in that one game versus LGD, but they completely messed up the team fights. I think if they just endlessly pushed that game and just avoided all team fights, they could have won that. Because I think Void and Furion had way more items than the Luna that game. So I think you have to have a mixture of split pushing and playing well, while also trying not to force team fights that you are going to lose late game. Because if you get it, if you they have the best mag is like the best counter initiate. Oftentimes you don't initiate with mag. You let them initiate you, and then you jump in and you RP everyone. So that's the problem. You shouldn't ever try to initiate fights with mag. That's like you should try and put him in a position where he's just not going to be able to counter initiate you and just play passively and split push. Obviously, it's not like a style that I enjoy playing. I know that I've complained a lot about that, but right now I don't see any other counter to how many buffs he got.
Well, the other counter is, I guess, supposed to ban him, but they chose to ban Chen instead, so they let him slip through. They got the Darkseer of their own. And, well, here we sit now. We has Asian. There is a Void in the pool. There is... oh god, it's slipping my mind now. But I guess Void, I don't know if they can fit it into their lanes. I guess they could dual lane mid, Jakiro Chaos Knight, run Void +1 and Darkseer off lane. It feels like with these picks, though, that what kind of carry could they be looking at? I feel like it's got to be someone who's got some sort of big lockdown, because otherwise they just can't clash. The alternative, like you said, is split push, is kind of avoid those head-on fights. There is a Wisp in the pool as well. That was the other hero. I don't know if it's really a good choice. I feel like when you have this much burst damage on Fnatic's side, Wisp just becomes useless, because she just dies instantly every fight, unless it's Funnick, and then it works. But we don't have a Funnick in this game, so... Yeah, but
I do think I think Wiz isn't, if they want to do for this, Fnatic actually has pretty obvious lanes right now. They're gonna obviously offlane the mag. I think they're gonna put the Night Stalker mid, and they're gonna have Enigma jungle. And if we has Asian aggressive tri lanes versus that, and they put Darkseer top versus mag, Darkseer crushes the mag on that solo. I know a lot of heroes that crush mag when he's offlane, and teams are just tri laning versus it. Why don't you just aggressive tri lane, and then you put a strong solo versus it? So the Tidehunter pick, wow, they have a lot of melee. So I actually have no idea what they're going to last pick.
You know, I will say one thing about Fnatic. They really like having massive team fight, massive crowd control, tons of reliable stuns. This is a level 6 lineup, though. I feel like they are very susceptible to aggressive lanes in the... aggressive lineups in the laning stage. Enigma, weak as far as supporting your lanes early on. Offensive tri-lanes can, if not kill him, then put a lot of pressure on the lane he's not really supporting. Triple melee already. I mean, it is almost begging for something to counter that. I don't know if the Void's the answer, but what do you think about just getting aggressive? Because until they get the Ravage, until Enigma's Black Hole, until there's a reverse polarity up, Fnatic's pretty tanky, they're pretty elusive, but they really can't do much against an aggressive tri-lane except try to lane mag against it and run away if they initiate.
Yeah, it's like Fnatic RC, obviously right now they have kind of weak lanes, like you said. So I just want we have Asian to kind of play like an aggressive lineup. I think that's the way they can beat them. And you know, another thing is Fnatic RC is kind of playing predictable. Like they have these kind of heroes that just have all this massive team fight, and then they have a Night Stalker, and they don't have much range DPS, and they don't have much tower pushing besides the Enigma. I don't know. Obviously their lineup has strong heroes, but I think compared to the other picks Fnatic RC has done this tournament, this is kind of the weaker one, just because I don't see much cohesion past before the laning during the laning phase and kind of on. So if WhA Asian kind of messes up, they could give Fnatic RC, but the Kodal pick. So most likely this is going to be an aggressive tri lane with what DHD, CK, and Kodal. So it's a smart idea from them.
It kind of has to be, right? I mean, if they sit back and let Fnatic get 6, how do they fight? You can just use a Black Hole to get 1, a Ravage to get another, a Reverse Polarity to get a 3rd, and I mean, in the first few levels, maybe WhA Asian can respond by saying, okay, you used all your ults, now we're going to go push, now we're going to go fight. But once the game gets later, you're dead long enough that most of these ults will cool down. Maybe not the Black Hole, but the Reverse Polarity, the Ravage will. You know, I see a lineup like this, and I want to say Silencer would be a great way to counter it, but he's just so weak in the laning stage. Fnatic gets Shadow Fiend. That
is really greedy. I don't know. Like, they have really, like, weak early game now. Like, the lane, they have no heroes that can... Look at their support. They have a support Tidehunter, I assume. Like, support Tidehunter's not going to do anything.
Awkward. It's a very... It looks amazing if you get to the mid-game with equal farm, right? But how do you get there?
Another thing, like you said, is what teams can do versus that whole... You have, like, all these team fight, and then after, you just have nothing. Like you force a team fight, you make them all use all their ultimates, and then you buy back. But that's only on the late game phase. If you do that early, obviously you're gonna lose because you don't have buyback gold. But if it gets to that point, you can just make their cooldowns on their ultimates on cooldown, then you can push.
Apparently my microphone's low compared to yours. I'm not sure if anyone else shares that complaint or if it's just one guy on the stream. Mic is fine on Twitch, so I guess it's in-game. Maybe try turning your microphone volume down a little bit in the settings in Steam. If you just right-click on it, go to Settings, go to Voice. You should be able to turn the microphone volume dial down just a little bit.
Okay.
But don't do it too much, because I'm not really sure if anyone else has that issue. If you guys do have problems, let me know. But anyway, PL is the response. What this is, I guess it's a really powerful laning combo with Keeper of the Light. Are we looking at like a
dual lane
mid, dual lane safe lane, Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer, Chaos Knight, Jakir mid, and Darkseer off lane?
I don't know. Like, yeah, I think that's the only possibility they have. But it doesn't seem as strong as the aggressive Trident. If they had a hero that would have been able to crush the Night Stalker mid, since Night Stalker probably was going to be mid, I think they could have just aggressive tri-lane and had a huge advantage, but they want to just play normal dual lane mid, dual lane top.
Well, that's kind of playing right into Fnatic's wheelhouse, I feel. And, you know, the other point that I think is worth making is, what does PL offer as this game goes later? There's so much AoE. I mean, I don't really... I feel like he could have max inventory, and his illusions will still melt to, you know, whether it's the Shockwave, the Shadow Fiend raises, Anchor Smash, Ravage, Requiem... it's a lot of AoE. He's going to have to get really tanky, or maybe we'll see something very odd and not go for that hard carry PL. But let's introduce our players. On the side of Fnatic, we have NoTail, who is going to be playing that jungle Enigma. 5 Clarity's already picked up. We have Hani, or JK, as he's currently playing as. He'll be on the Shadow Fiend. Era on the Night Stalker. He's been playing that quite a bit this tournament. Fly, formerly known as Bot, he'll be on the Tidehunter. Observers and Sentries picked up for him. And Trixi as the offlane Mag. And, well... smartly, Skewer already picked up, so I saw one Magnus this tournament actually took Shockwave at level 1, and he gave up a first blood. Haven't seen that since then.
I remember Yao did that one thing. One game he was off lane too and just like fed 2 times. It's pretty funny. It's like you see that solo and then you get the Skewer because you think you're soloing, and then there's like a support that comes out and you're basically dead.
It's brutal. So who do we have on the side of WhA Asian?
We has Asian. Okay, I don't even know which part of the name is. Okay, Tom RMC on the THD, HHNP on the Kodal, Unicorn XOXO on the Phantom Lancer.
We can just call him Unicorn if you'd like.
Okay, yeah. Crit on the CK, and then Cry Asia. Okay, pretty complicated names for them, but yeah.
For anyone who's wondering, Tommy is actually just a friendly fan who I think may have helped pay their travel fees, but I know is definitely housing the whole team. They weren't going to be able to attend Dreamhack, but thanks to the kind generosity of a huge fan of the game, they are here, and apparently his faith in them was well rewarded, as they did beat Mouse, like you said, to get into this point, advance through the groups. Kind of odd lanes, though. We see a CK solo mid versus a Night Stalker. Well, the mid pull, so I guess that sort of makes sense. So it is the dual lanes we talked about in the end. I guess not that surprising. I didn't notice the Jakiro there for a second. Offlane Darkseer with the double damage rune, already level 2. What do you think about these lanes?
Problem is that they're gonna be able to somewhat, actually both here, like these offlane heroes are gonna get experience just because Fnatic has a Tidehunter support. Tidehunter does not do anything versus Darkseer. Like, he can't keep him off lane, and this Darkseer is just gonna get free roam. That's gonna be trouble. And one thing he can do is he can pull the side big camp to his wave. I wish he starts doing that soon, but that's gonna totally mess up what Fnatic does. He can probably just outlevel them.
Yeah, look at what Trixie's doing as well. He's trying to contest the pulls. This is the one really nice thing about Keeper of the Light, is he's so good at stacking. Yeah. I saw you've made a few tweets about stacking. We have seen a lot of it, in, not only in this tournament, but also in G1, just teams constantly abusing the stacks, trying to get as much farm as possible. And it also seems in large part due to the prevalence of the twin-headed dragon and the Jakiro, which, oh, by the way, WhA Asian has both of them, so one benefit to their team, maybe they get those early utility items up. Although so far, you know, only level 1 on Jakiro, level 2 just being hit by Keeper of the Light. They're not farming that fast. Mid lane seems to be a wash. Chaos Knight, Night Stalker, both of them pretty good at farming. Oh, it should be a wash, but it's actually Crit who's just crushing Era in this lane. I guess the mid pull coming into play.
Yeah, definitely the mid pull, and he got support in the early levels, so he leveled him, and he has the Culling Blade. So he's gonna out CS the Night Stalker pretty easily. I think the problem right now is obviously like both these lanes. I mean, Trixie did a really good job there of actually taking the pull. Usually you can single pull the small. You can single pull the creeps to the small camp, and then you can drag it up, or you can just double pull the camp
right
on the bottom. But he single pulled the Kotal, and then Trixie came in and like disturbed it. So that was pretty smart for him. He got a double wave. He got a lot of experience there. But Cryage is doing a smart job right here. He pulled the big camp to the side. So Fnatic.EU is actually having a rough time keeping this Darkseer out of the lane. I mean, he's CSing fine as an offlaner. And a Darkseer that gets snowballed early in the game because you can't stop him or you can't keep him away. Really annoying to play versus. He just gets...
He's up against a 4 melee lineup. Meanwhile, or 3 melee lineup rather. Arrow will drop low, pulled in by Tommy Crit. Tommy Crit, it's just Crit, but I keep on calling him Tommy Crit because it sounds pretty cool. And Trixie continues to be a nuisance on these pulls. In fact, I think he's benefiting more from them than the Keeper of the Light. Well, he will eat that Illuminate. That's going to force him back. Boots already picked up top lane. They do have Malefice. They got to kind of bait out the Surge first. This is a wild goose chase for No-Tail. And in fact, he's got to be careful because Cry could maybe turn around on him. Well,
that was some good intuition by Cry. I think if he got caught there regardless, I don't think he would have died. But he actually was going for a different unique build. He's going for the vacuum early. I don't know about that. Usually go 2 Surge early game just so the cooldown is pretty long and the duration is pretty long.
Well, they do have some great spells to vacuum heroes into, right? Because you've got
I'm talking about early game. I don't think you need the vacuum that much. I think 2 Surge just to completely dominate this lane is better, but yeah, so,
it is
kind
the
of like
more standard build. It's better for the laning phase, but I guess maybe they're looking towards a timing here. You know, perhaps before the Enigma hits 6. He's only level 3. He has spent a lot of time trying to get that top lane. Tide, only 2. We talked about this as a level 6 team. Mag is the closest one right now as far as those big team fight initiators go. He's 4, but there is still a pretty good window of opportunity before they all have their ultimates up.
Cry actually could have killed the Enigma there. I don't know why. He got the haste rune. If he vacuumed him back, he could have maybe annoyed him or dived him. He might not have gotten the kill, but Enigma could have been a risk worth taking. On the other hand, Night Stalker, 4-second stun.
That's gonna hurt. In comes the Twin-Headed Dragon. This should be our first blood. Era dropping low. Nice silence there, but I think it only delays the inevitable. Maybe not. Bottling up is Crit. Another stun. That'll be the first blood. A 1 second, but it was enough. Double stun from him. Hits level 6, and this Chaos Knight is really crushing Night Stalker in lane. I feel like Night Stalker didn't anticipate the Chaos Knight mid because he thought it would just be a straight dual lane. Because he went for that early stout shield, but wasn't actually being harassed at all. Getting out CS, now giving up a first blood. Not really the start you hope for on that Night Stalker.
Yeah, definitely. But I think at least Night Stalker can kind of handle the abuse, but like there, he got totally demolished just because of all the disables. I mean, the CK stun followed by the Ice Path followed by the Dual Breath, it's a lot of damage.
Well, as far as our 2 safe lanes go, Unicorn's getting free farm, Shadow Fiend's getting free farm. Obviously, Shadow Fiend gets going a lot harder and a lot quicker. He farms faster than PL in the mid game. If you go for Radiance, I think it equalizes to some extent. But Shadow Fiend, much more of a high impact early to mid game hero. They don't have that many stuns. All they've really got is Chaos Bolt and Ice Path. And I suppose you've got some cheeky ones like Monolith. But yeah, this is a game where if Shadow Fiend gets a BKB, I don't know what they do to deal with him.
Yeah, but if it does go late, I think WhA's Asian has the DPS to win this, because PL actually is pretty sick late game now, because he got that huge agility gain buff, which obviously like early levels it doesn't mean that much, but later since it stacks and stacks every level, it just means a lot. So it'll be interesting. It will also be interesting to see what build he goes. I mean, he can go for the Radiance, but I like that Diffusal Rush a lot too now, because Diffusal with his agility game does so much damage.
Apparently you may still be a bit too loud in Dota TV, so I think try turning your mic down. Maybe about, I don't know, halfway from where it is now. Well, good time for lag, so we can try and get this fixed.
Okay, it's the voice volume, I presume, right?
No, that's your listening volume. You actually want to right-click on Steam from your desktop tray, like in the bottom right corner of Windows, and go to Settings, go to Voice, and there should be an option to lower your, I think it's microphone volume or input volume, something like that.
Oh, okay. That's why. Okay, microphone volume.
Ah, there you go. You're a little bit quiet, but we can always fix that on the stream, easier than in-game, so...
Is it better now?
I mean, you sounded fine to me, but... It's all about the in-game audio. So guys, let us know when you catch up. Obviously, there's 2-minute delay. If Bulba and I are the same volume, great. If not, we'll try and tweak things. And of course, if he's too quiet on the live stream, we'll adjust that as well separately. But when you're Logi to complaint, just let us know which one is having the issues. That way, well, we can troubleshoot them a bit easier. Anyway, top lane. Hani's starting to push this lane quite hard. Level 7, he can just mow down the creep waves. Very aggressive positioning. It's Tommy, or it's RMC. I call every single one of them Tommy. I feel like I'm watching The Matrix. It's just like 50 Agent Smiths, but they're gonna get an early tier 1 here top.
I don't. It'll be interesting to see if I think Fnatic has. If they push the early lane, they have to go for 2. If they stop halfway through, it gives the offlaner on the other team space. But yeah, it looks like they're. I don't know. They might not stay.
Actually. This is where the Night Stalker really comes into play, because if he wasn't here, they would have just Keeper of the Light could have showed up a lot earlier, but it just wasn't safe to be in that region with Night Stalker always available to show up, go for the gank. We actually saw RMC was there. He was forced to TP out. That's actually an interesting thing to sort of talk about this game is WhA Asian can get away with some TP cheese. There's only Malefice and Void. Aside from that, you're blowing a big team fight ult to stop a TP. Doesn't really come into play yet, but could later on. So they lose the tier 1 top, but like you said, this almost gives Cry an easier time. Although, spamming Ion Shell is going to push the lane out pretty quickly.
Yeah, but Fnatic's going to pull it back anyway, so it was smart by them. But the problem right now for Fnatic is that WhA Asian has this kind of dual core setup where they have a farm CK and a farm PL. So obviously dual core usually can beat like this kind of semi-carrier hero like Shadow Fiend. Like I wouldn't say Shadow. Okay, Shadow Fiend actually rushes the Blink Dagger. Interesting.
This is really aggressive.
Yeah,
he's obviously.
I think he just wants to he wants Mag to initiate with Seer and then he wants to blink ulti. That's probably his strategy right now.
Well, if anybody hits a big ult, whether it's a Ravage, which they don't have yet, but they will fairly soon. Oh, that's gonna be trouble. Unicorn is able to go invis. No dust. I feel like you really should be buying dust if you're trying to gank PL. Just a lot to expect him not to have those quick trigger fingers. Only 1 point in Doppelwalk. It does scale pretty well, but just going for more stats. Now the silence comes out, and the Void. Keeper of the Light is here. Skewer into the reverse polarity. Doesn't catch Keeper of the Light, though. Arrow dropping low. Ice Path coming in, hitting nothing. Now the land spam begins. Trixi trying to run away. Out of mana. Looks to be in a lot of trouble here. Night Stalker running away. Meanwhile, mid lane, it's a huge black hole. Tommy crit. Our crit is going to fall. Look at Hani. Big plays from him. Double kill for Hani. They completely failed the gank bottom, really. But in the end, they get the double kill mid. And this
that was worth it. They're going to get mid tower, too, here.
And this is sort of what we talked about, right? You don't have to hit all your ults to get a bunch of kills on Fnatic's side.
Yeah. And that was a really good last raise there by Hani. Like, it looked like it wouldn't hit the Darkseer, but he hit right on the edge. So that was really good in the play there.
So, where do we sit as far as gold and experience goes, as far as item progressions go? About a 2k gold lead for Fnatic. We sort of talked about them as a team that, once they get level 6, life gets really difficult for WhA Asians. It should be Fnatic's game to lose at this point. Of course, you're up against Darkseer, you're up against a lot of anti-push, a lot of turtling power, but they have the Roshan advantage. They seem to be farming better. We're seeing the Shadow Fiend's power curve. He just starts getting involved so much earlier. Keeper of the Light can't do that. Even if you catch 2 in a black hole, you don't show up and drop, like 800, 900 nuke damage instantly and get a double kill. You throw a Lance in, you auto-attack a couple times, maybe you get 1. And it's just, I like the way they're playing with the Shadow Fiend being aggressive, because it really takes advantage of a weakness in WhA Asians carries.
Yeah. I still think that, okay, this Blink might be good, but I prefer if he went BKB. I don't think WhA Asian has anything to stop SF. Like with the BKB Russian.
Right.
If he didn't go the Blink, he probably would have the BKB then the next 3 minutes or so, but now it's going to delay it quite significantly. So let's see if they can do more with this Blink. He went for Blink.
Even a Bracer. Hoker Club and then back into Bracer. Just try to maximize that inventory space. Get as much HP as possible. Try kind of compensating. Oh, this is a nice smoke gank, and this is big trouble for WhA Asian. Do they try and help this twin-headed dragon? This could be a lot of trouble. Raise number 1 is going to hit. Hani blinks forward, catches another. Reverse polarity, I believe, was there. Now the Ravage. Look at the team fight. Oh my goodness, but they get back even in the Ion Shell, bringing everyone low. Race car error, giving chase. Now Unicorn trying to survive, trying to get away from this one. And will he be able to? 3-second stun. Doesn't matter. Over the top comes Hani. Hani is just absolutely destroying these guys. Triple kill for him. Now level 10. how do you team fight against this? I mean, it's impossible. There's no winning a fight.
Yeah, that's a problem with having these heroes like PL and CK. They have no AOE at all early game, and Fnatic can just, like what you said, face roll them. They can just run in and dive the tower with the Night Stalker and the armor with all these heroes they have like Tidehunter and Mag, and completely crush.
And this is without an early mech, because the Enigma, I guess, just hasn't farmed it yet. Maybe it's on the way right now. No, Urn of Shadows for Trixi, so just for the Mag. But the BKB is now coming soon, and Fnatic, with that, not only do they win that fight, they get the aggressive lane ward down, they further restrict where it's safe for that PL to farm, and it's really a hard game for him to farm, because Night Stalker with Dust, like, you die real quickly, and you can't run away from him. I feel like we as Asians, they needed to out-farm their opponents, they needed to be ahead this game, and I don't know if they're equipped to win with a comeback, unless somehow they hit the absolute Ion Shell vacuum wall replica of Cry's life. But even then, once the mech is there, once the ults are there, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Onto air they go, top lane, 4-second stun. Easy kill. So they do find something. Trixi wants revenge.
Yeah. At least they got one kill out, but things have not been going well. Even though they have decent farm on both PL and CK with, what, 70 CS on the PL and then 63 on the CK. Even though SF's the only one with a huge amount of farm on Fnatic. They have all these towers and they're getting gold through the towers. They don't need they don't need the creep kills right now. And soon I think Fnatic's gonna go for the Roshan, and they can get it pretty easily with SF's damage and then the Enigma Eidolons and the Gush from Tidehunter.
Yeah, it's a lot of Midas armor. It's also, we haven't even seen the full potential of the lineup when you get the BKB on Shadow Fiend, when you have Empower up on him. And I gotta say, Hani has really impressed me with his carry play in this event. We saw him mostly playing an initiator role for this team, at least before Trixi joined. And they go on to crit mid lane. Gush, now Malefice, here comes the Requiem. He unloads. And even the Phantasm dodge, not gonna be enough. Hani, granted he's got a lot of setup, but he is on point with his Shadow Fiend, and I think this is a bit of an underrated carry. It just gets going so early, and especially with the kinds of heroes that teams are favoring right now, heroes like Magnetar, heroes like Enigma, he combos beautifully with these AoE teamfight heavy lineups.
Yeah, SF's a really good mid-game hero. I mean, if you pick him and then you farm him out in the safe game, he farms faster than any of the other early game heroes, just because he has the raise, and he has so much DPS with the right clicks, and then if he gets his Requiem off in a big team fight. So I do like how Fnatic's playing this right now. I just want to see what they're gonna do next. Yeah, they're gonna go for the Roshan. WhA will just spawn the Eidolons from the neutral camps, and Fnatic knows this, I think.
But what can they do?
Yeah, look at the wards from Fnatic as well.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
Yeah, they have 5 wards.
This is something you can't even really plan on, because you can only buy 4 at a time. But
I think that's pretty overkill. I mean, I don't think they need all these wards in all these places, but I mean, if they want the map control.
Uh-oh, Trixi gets vacuumed through the trees, but, well, then there's this little thing we call Skewer. He gets away. And Roshan
an interesting build from Trixi. You went for the Tranquil Boots Urn. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple EU players now that just seem allergic to Arcane Boots on their...
No, I think Magnus needs the Arcane Boots just because his spells cost so much mana.
You know, I actually cast a game earlier today where the Magnetar, like 6 times in the game, he didn't have mana for his ult. And I blame... He went for Bottle Tranquil Boots, didn't even go for Soul Ring, which obviously is more reliable mana regen, and he didn't have it, so... That's a slight concern. They do have 1 pair of Arcane Boots on Tide, but that's it. Matched Tranquil Boots for Fnatic, actually. What is that, 3 pairs? No, 2 pairs and 2 pairs of Treads, but maybe 1 more set of Arcades would be a good idea.
It looks like Unicorn was trying to go for the Diffusal, but then he went for the Vid Booster. Obviously, he needs the HP, but he doesn't have that many high levels of Juxtapose. He has 2, but he's not going to be able to farm as fast or an out-carry, I think, Fnatic right now. Unless they get into this huge turtle situation with Kodal and him split pushing, but it's going to be hard, especially since he's not going Radiance.
And also, we haven't heard a peep from the Chaos Knight since this game started. He hasn't been able to do anything. The solo mid Chaos Knight, even with the mid pulls, even having the first blood on Night Stalker, he is just not having a big impact. We're seeing some of the weaknesses of the hero. Doesn't push quickly, doesn't farm that quickly, only has the single target, doesn't have a BKB yet. In fact, only about to complete his drums, and until he gets a BKB, what can he do? And then even once he gets it, what can he do? Because there's still Black Hole, there's still Reverse Polarity, and there's still the auto attacks of the Shadow Fiend. I feel like because we as Asians drafted the way they did and allowed them to get to this point in the game, like Fnatic should win this game unless they make some horrible blunder.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, with the gold lead is close to 7,500, which is huge considering it's only 17 minutes in, and the experience is pretty significant too. And right now, Fnatic is just playing it passive. They're just going to farm up. They're going to wait for the BKB. SF has it in another 200 gold or so. And as soon as they get that, they're going to try and push.
And Trixi's got his Blink, so now they have a Blink Magnetar. By the way, I gotta say, that is like the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. Blink in, skewer an enemy back. It's a swap, except you don't actually put yourself in harm's way for more than a second or two. And I think the range is even longer until swap is max level. We're really strong. Like, Mag doesn't even really need reverse polarity in a lot of cases to just put a hero in a position where he's going to die. So now they've got that Blink. Tide going for the mech, which I like this adjustment. You mentioned he needs to be their hard support. It's worked out because they got ahead. This could have been a big weak spot if they had fallen behind. But because they're ahead, he has the arcane moods, the mech's coming soon. And what else do you think they need? No-Tail's getting close to BKB. I suppose he could wait for that. It feels pretty fail-proof for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we as Asian can just essentially Kodo blast every single creep wave. So I think Fnatic is, I mean, they're going to try and get control of their the enemy's jungle right now, which I think is the right choice. They already have these obs in place. They're smoked in, and I think they might try to pick off crit.
Oh,
yeah.
Crit Malphite to start. Now the Silence the Void. He is just getting focused down. Needs that BKB, or maybe not. Trixi blinks in. Now Tani blinks in. Oh, the first signs of miscoordination from this squad. Phantasm, was it used? Nope, I think he was thinking about reality rifting someone. In the end, decides not to. They didn't blow the big ults, though. They still have reverse polarity. They still have Ravage. They still have Black Hole. But the BKB down on Shadow Fiend. Looks like Fnatic's going to back off. Aegis? Well, they've got about 3 minutes on this.
Yeah. I mean, we has Asian. I honestly don't know what they can do now. Starkseer basically barely has any farm. I don't even know with his item builds. He's like the Bassi and the Soul Ring, but he's not gonna have this mech. Yeah, he's not gonna have the mech anytime soon. Or he might have it, but it's not gonna be that big in a team fight. It's gonna be like close to 23 minutes when he gets the mech.
And even once he does, you know, will he get to use it in a fight? If he gets caught by any of those AoE ults, he's probably dying from full health. He's still pretty squishy. That's like 3 raises. He doesn't even have a casual cloak. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel the Darkseer mech is a game-breaking item. I don't know. I can't think of a game-breaking item. Maybe the BKB on CK. It wouldn't really break the game, but I feel like that's the one item that could at least allow them to maybe bait some big ults out.
Yeah. The problem is he's also kind of under-leveled. So, concerning where he should be. I mean, the Enigma's out-leveling him. The Tidehunter's the same level as him. And this Tidehunter is, like you said, he's really farmed. Like, getting such an early mech on a support hero is pretty big.
It sort of goes back to what you said where, you know, the other reason they wanted to get the tier 2 top early, well, they didn't, but they did do a lot of pulling there, so they just maximized the gold coming out of that lane. And I guess that's all. That's even more of a concern for we as Asians, is they only have these 2 outer towers, so once they start losing fights, the map control is totally going to slip away. I guess there's still a little bit of time before Fnatic have everything they could hope for. They don't have level 2 reverse polarity. They don't have max empower yet. Obviously, Shadow Fiend gets dramatically scarier, and Night Stalker becomes a bit of a DPS dealer once that empower is leveled up. They are split pushing. This is sort of what they have to do. Diffuse a Blade up on Phantom Lancer. He's been allowed to farm for quite a while. Trying to pull his team back to the game. The gold graph has stabilized. Still 7,500 gold lead. And they're still trying to just get this tier 2. It is annoying. This is the new Tinker. You're sort of a pioneer of that March build, but this is the new Tinker. Just constant Illuminate spam, constant Dual Breath, Ice Path spam.
I actually don't know why PL TP'd out of bottom. He actually could have gotten that tower and maybe even made SF use his BKB. He has the early Diffusal Blade, and that does so much damage if you have your illusions attacking the hero.
Right,
so.
And because he has the increased agility gain, he's attacking faster, so... And his illusions are hitting harder, so he's getting more of those mana burns off per second, which can stack up.
Yeah. So PL is farming well. I mean, not extremely well. Like, he hasn't really participated in any fights. He hasn't even used his Diffusal Blade to, like, team fight at all. I mean, if you think about it, maybe a Radiance would have probably been better, because essentially what he's trying to do is just split push and farm with illusions. But he's also not farming in the jungle at all with his illusions. He's just farming the lane. Which I do think if you play PL and if you want to play him to the best with this like farming role, you need to farm the jungle with him too. And I know that my TC actually likes using Calling Blade early because the illusions do so much damage with the Calling Blade. You can do most neutral camps early on with just a Calling Blade on your illusions. So.
Wow. I didn't actually realize that worked on illusions. Well.
Yeah, it does work. It's like it works with Naga too. That's why you see Blow and these like players they just go Calling Blade on Naga just because your illusions do so much damage.
I guess it makes the Battle Fury anti-mage even just a tiny bit better as well. Although we haven't seen much of him lately. Era, the one thing that I'm not really liking from Fnatic is how much time Era is spending running around trying to gank, and the pressure he's actually created I feel is quite minimal, and he's a bit underfarmed, honestly. Like with all the towers they have, he's almost as poor as the Tidehunter. And well, the Enigma looks poor because his BKB is being flown out right now. This is a death ball. I mean, at some point these guys do. You'd figure they just go for it. They don't have a pipe. I guess that's the other thing maybe they're lacking. But they are giving a lot of time for PL to farm. Darkseer about to hit level 11. He will have the level 2 ult and max vacuum. So as funky as the build looked early on, it will be the right build, the ideal build now. Now you've got the maximum amount of team fight, the 30-second wall, and HHNP. I can't believe he hasn't been caught yet. Despite constantly spamming Illuminate, they can't seem to wrangle him out of that base.
Yeah, PL's gonna get top tower if this goes. So this actually isn't a bad trade.
Right, they can't fight anyway, so they might as well go for the trades.
Actually, never mind, they're TPing back. Look at all these illusions. He should have just attacked the tower with them. I don't know why he's trying to micro them.
Uh-oh, he spent way too much time staying here. Maybe thought he could catch one hero now. Should pay for this.
Look at that damage.
Oh, maybe not. Eris dropping low. Trixi got to nuke those down, but he's just trying to find the PL. Oh my god, it's like an army of Flemings or something just biting at his ankles. Now they catch out Unicorn. Other thing is that Hani wasn't here.
Yeah, that was actually a really good play there by Fnatic. Two of their allies TP'd to the tier 2, and then one of them TP'd from the tier 1. So they were already ready there for PL to run away, and Night Striker has a gem, so they chased him pretty easily. But yeah, that was pretty cocky play. I actually think if he just ran back, he could have been safe. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're gonna TP back as soon as the tower's done. So instead of just like sending illusions on the heroes, he could have just sent them on the tower and maybe taken the tower down to even more damage and gotten away in time.
Yeah, WhA Asians is honestly getting a bit more out of this map than I thought they would. Sure, they've got good anti-push, but Fnatic they've got the bull rush lineup. They've got these heroes that can just charge at you, and I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Trixi go for more of those blink skewer initiates. Not even go for reverse polarity, because WhA Asians are doing a really nice job of spreading out, so you're not going to catch multiple heroes with that to start, but just blink it, skewer one back, and then if they try to help him, then their whole team starts to get picked off one by one. They walk into the Ravage, they walk into the Black Hole. That is, I think that's their best, most reliable form of initiation, unless Tide gets a blink down the road, but they really haven't been using these items for much.
Yeah, Tide is gonna go to blink, but I still think they're playing fine. I mean, they're just farming. They're farming the other enemy's jungle right now. They're putting pressure on all the lanes. I still don't know what this PL. What did he even go? He went for the Yasha. He's going for Manta right now.
Well, that'll remove the Night Stalker silence. It also does give your illusions a bit more HP. It's kind of a utility PL build, but he can transition towards the late game. He can build a heart out of the Vitality Booster. Eventually, maybe you get some Boots of Travel to replace those Tranquil Boots. He's doing more than I really thought he would be able to be totally honest. But
and WhA Asian Tommy Crit is actually going for a heart first. I actually don't agree with this. He needs the BKB so he can tank for the PL. He's not this heart. Obviously, it's going to give him damage and HP, but he needs the BKB early to deal with the fights, or else all this AoE is just going to melt his illusions anyways.
Right, his job is pretty much jump in, and then they use a bunch of ults on you, or they die to you. Either way, you create space for the rest of the team to follow up. Because who else is jumping in? If Darkseer runs in, he gets Malefist, he doesn't get his ult off, that fight's over. And, well, with this fresh Aegis, I want to take a look at buybacks. Shadow Fiend, Chaos Knight, Mag, Tide, and Night Stalker have it, but Darkseer and PL do not. Probably the two most important heroes for WhA Asian in this push.
So, I mean, this is kind of like exemplary of like old school Dota, where you just have this Kodo spamming out the mid lane when they're pushing, and then the Phantom Knights are farming the side lanes.
And
but it's kind of like bringing back
and the Chaos Knight too.
Yeah, but actually, I think that time Chaos Knight wasn't picked as much, but it was like like 10 versions ago, so I have no idea. But it was a long time ago.
Right? No. He's just.
Oh yeah, you're talking about him pushing. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously he's not really an old school hero in that sense.
It should actually be PL for pushing that, but I guess he didn't get there in time. He was farming the Ancients.
He's kind of trapped in the base. You can't really lead. Well, they do have Keeper of the Light, so he could recall.
So, I mean, he keeps Spirit Lancing. Even the Spirit Lance does like a lot of damage on these heroes. If he gets a good Spirit Lance off on the Tide or whatever, and they smoked. So interesting smoke. I guess they want to. Okay, they smoked to do that.
Yeah, that was.
I think it was a misclick or something.
Maybe. I mean, they do have a gem, so they at least knew that there wasn't. Oh, Trixie finally goes for it, but not gonna find it.
If PL was top during this, I think he could have gotten that tower. But CK is there, and he's not going to be able to do anything. If Night Stalker TP is up another TP,
right,
he could be in trouble.
And he could get it, but he really wants Phantasm if fight breaks out. So.
Oh, he used a Phantasm top to push this.
Oh, this
it's
might.
not gonna happen.
But can they even?
So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's fine because nighttime just turned off. But oh my God, he's gonna be. Why don't you just kill the tower, dude? Kill the tower. Why are you running back?
4 seconds down on Era. Era is gonna be. Oh, it comes Hani. Hani might actually pay for this. Aegis is about to run out anyway. I think maybe not. The Lucian's bringing him low. Will they actually? No, they despawn when he's got 10 health. And now Crit will fall and doesn't get the tower. Tower will be denied. And with the Aghanims... Oh, sorry, he doesn't have Aghanims. What am I talking about? Still going for the Aghanims. But they find him. They run him down and they kill him off. Meanwhile, they want this pesky tier 1 mid, which is somehow still alive. There is no glyph. So this tower, just the time it takes to run mid, they should be able to get it. No, maybe not. That was so many TPs top. That's like a guaranteed tower mid.
Yeah, I don't know what the CK was doing. Okay, if he wants a suicide to get the tower, he might as well just gotten it, but he just backed out and then he like microed. I don't know, he tried to juke the guy also sending back his illusion, but then he's stunned. Right. They actually got juked there, it was pretty funny. Like Hani TP blinked in and tried to kill the illusion that was running away.
Yeah, I was just watching Hani almost die to that illusion. He went down to like 10 health.
Yeah, so they actually didn't deny top, so but regardless, that was pretty weird play there by CK. I mean, if you're gonna go balls deep and try and get a tower, you might as well just do it.
This feels like one of those games where still Fnatic, to a certain extent, should have the edge in a fight, but it's only if they can execute, and they have not... How many team fights have we seen? We've seen like 2 reverse polarities, maybe 1 or 2 black holes. This is just beautiful stalling by WhA's Asians, and I feel like also a little bit of indecisiveness from Fnatic as far as how they want to try and breach high ground.
Yeah. But I don't know, like Fnatic, they are kind of scared. They don't want to like. The problem with PL is if you have all these setup stuns, and you have all these setup ultis, but if they somehow miss 1 or 2 and PL gets a lot of illusions out and he just focuses these heroes, it's gonna do a lot of damage and they can honestly win a team fight. And SF, I don't know when the Aegis is gonna run out, but somewhat soon I think.
Yeah, I think they have. Let's call it 2, maybe 3 minutes. Not a whole lot longer. They will get the last tier 2, but this comes at the expense of Unicorn pushing down that middle lane. And with this army of illusions, well, Tidehunter doesn't want to fight those. He's going to start losing his mana in a hurry.
Actually, the Aegis is going to last quite a long time. I didn't see the timer, but yeah, so they can try and get a team fight off during this.
You say that. In a normal game, I agree. But in this game, a long time,
I mean,
it's
they
like 15 minutes because they just turtle forever. Yeah. Like, the only item I could think of that normally you would need to breach high ground is a pipe at this point. Although it's not really essential.
I think PL's going to go for a heart next. I actually think that's a good idea here. The Manta isn't going to do much at all. He needs the heart to just tank up and have his illusions do a lot of damage. The problem with PL is if his illusions don't have a heart, they're not going to withstand all the AoE that Fnatic RC has with the Tide and the SF and the Mag. Oh!
They thought he might still be there. He wasn't.
Like, playing with Fnatic right now, like, it takes balls just to, like, not get pissed off right now. I mean, obviously, it's just so frustrating playing with the style of play that WhA's Asian is going on. And they are playing well, actually. I mean, none of their players have really been picked off. The last death was that CK top. But they're doing what their heroes can do with the situation they're in.
Bulba, I thought the Chinese Dota was all about farming. But yeah, we only see 12 kills in 31 minutes. And it's an aggressive, like, lineup from both teams, you know. Even in the lane, PL, CK, Twin-Headed Dragon, fairly aggressive, and then especially heroes like Night Stalker, Tide, Magnus. Heck, it's called the face rush lineup for a reason. But there has not been much face rushing in this game, just kind of eyeing each other from the distance. I almost want to see like a blink on the Night Stalker, something just really weird. Like,
PL is gonna do. PL is mid. Yeah, he's not gonna try and. But yeah, they're just running in right now. Everyone's TPing back in.
Oh, they gotta be careful though. Darkseer is here. He's gonna. Oh, Ice Path catches out Hani. Still has the Aegis. I don't think it lasts for too much longer.
Wow,
Blink
nice.
in. What a reverse polarity. Now the Ravage disaster ensues for WhA Asian. Wombo combo.
Wow.
And everyone dies. That
was amazing play there by Trixi. That was such a good RP. Like that was basically.
Oh,
actually, everyone bought back.
I think he almost skewered Tommy or HNB, but Yeah, they all buy back, so now the ult's down. This is also what we talked about in the pregame was, if you bait out all the ults, can you just turn the fight around? Well...
It wasn't that bad, actually, for Fnatic, because it made the PL bot back. That kind of delayed his heart. I think CK bought back, and he actually had 3k CK before that death, and now he has 1.5. And farming you with CK, if you're a carry player, you know how annoying it is. You have no AoE, you just like have this little stick that he has, and you're just attacking every little creep, and you have low attack speed. But yeah, it's gonna be hard for him to farm that heart back. But honestly, it's his fault for even going hard. If he had a BKB there, he could have maybe done something.
I don't know if he could have done something. I mean,
actually, yeah, he probably wouldn't have, but he got RP'd. But
yeah, that
he'd probably be more useful than he is now.
That was a sick play by Trixi, and you know we saw a lot of great reverse polarities from WhA in G1. And the reason I bring it up is like he won the game for his team for LGD with his reverse polarities. Sure, they were in a good position, but without those reverse polarities, they don't win the game. Without that reverse polarity, the fight doesn't even go well for Fnatic. It actually took everything to bring WhA Asians down. Even after the Requiem of Souls, they all were still sitting, most of the heroes were sitting around like 700, 800, 900 health, but the black hole finally came in. I was honestly surprised that WhA Asians lived that long, but it's a bit of a concern. Really, it is. If PL doesn't have his heart, CK doesn't have his heart, and you have to hit everything perfectly to bring those heroes down.
I mean, it's gonna be back to whatever WhA Asian was doing before. Tommy, I mean Unicorn, sorry, has his Reaver, so he's gonna have his heart soon. It'll be interesting to see if the fight changes there at all.
Yeah, are there any other real big item progressions? Shadow Fiend going for more of the utility, the pushing kind of siege engine build. He's got the Manta style up. No real big right-click damage items. And for a long period of the game, Shadow Fiend is great against illusion-based heroes. He brings them down quickly, but we're getting to a point where Requiem isn't necessarily enough to kill off the Phantasms or the PL illusions unless they're right on top of you. How late can they take this? Is Fnatic, are they the ones who have to be a bit more scared in a long game when the buybacks are in play especially? Are they in a good position now? They do have the third Roshan coming soon. Is that going to be enough to break high ground?
I mean, what do they have right now? They have BKB on Enigma. They have all their core items. I mean, Mag is pretty close to his refresher, but I don't know how game-changing that's going to be at this point. You can get a double refresher. Obviously, it's pretty big, but it's not like they really need that item to push. And Nightstalker's actually pretty poor. He's probably the poorest player on Fnatic besides the Tide, because he just got so hurt early game. And this Tide is actually pretty farmed. He has Blink, Vlad's, Mech. It's really good play by Fly, my Schneckel.
Yeah, Fly is one of the more, I think for me, one of the most impressive players on Fnatic, but obviously a bit unheralded. But when you run a greedy lineup like this with so many farmers,
it is greedy. That's what I don't understand with WhA Asian. They had the perfect setup to aggressive tri-lane and totally mess up this SS farm, but they go for this dual core setup and just give they give their enemy jungle, they give the Enigma free farm, they give the SF free farm, and I don't think it was worth it in the end.
Well, we'll see. It's looking better and better for them, mainly because Fnatic hasn't necessarily peaked, but it feels like they're not going to get stronger any quicker than WhA Asians will.
Yeah. The problem with this game is I'm just worried that okay, you have all this set up, and then the game is just going to end with the perfect RP and SF ulti, and then a Tide Ravager, and then an Enigma Black. It's going to be like that, except next time WhA Asian won't have money for buybacks. I'm just afraid that's going to happen. All the setup for nothing. But I can hope.
Well, we know who Bulba's rooting for now. Oh, Sam. But, yeah, I mean, Refresher Orb on Trixi, he could get the level 3 ult. It gets a little bit stronger. It's pretty freaking amazing at all levels, though. I guess you could see some damage items on Hani, but there's a heart up on PL now. The heart's about to be completed by CK. Like you said, buyback is really the concern because it feels almost inevitable that you're going to lose at least 2 or 3 to that initial round of ults. So at least your core heroes are going to need buyback if you want to try and win the second round of the fight.
Yeah. And I think SF should go probably for the Daedalus next. I love Daedalus on SF. He has the attack speed and the damage to back that up.
Yeah, I like it. I even like it with I think Korok went for the Shadowblade Daedalus. It's just like the assassin build. You just charge.
Yeah, Shadowblade is actually a really good item on SF because the problem is if you can get that Shadowblade early on, like their supports won't have enough money for gem or sentries
Right.
or whatever, and you can just run around free reign. And
Yep.
you do so much damage with that.
It's like a bounty hunter, except he instantly kills people by himself, which is kind
Don't
of
get
insane.
me started on Shadowblade. That item is like my favorite item in this version.
Oh,
I can
well,
get
yeah,
them every.
we've seen your Shadowblade bounty hunter, so.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if that should really that shouldn't work multiplicatively with Janata, in my opinion, anyway. But boy, oh boy, it does.
Yeah, I actually love my Shadowblade Sven before, but people hated on that.
Well, people hate on everything. What can you do? They are doing some dewarding. Amazingly, WhA Asian has not lost Rex, and this comes after a massive team fight. You know, I don't actually remember that last fight. There was so much AoE. I don't think we saw a wall, though. I think Cry did get caught in the wall. Or
It was
in the
it was
combo.
so long ago. I don't even remember what happened in that team fight.
So I'm not the only one who gets the hazy memory then. That's good at least. Oh, here we go. Oh, he just
Wow.
misses crit. If I feel like if he gets that, they just automatically win, because then you force out a buyback, and then you're gonna kill that hero the second time around with the ults. And it's like a punch hook in a sense. Like, you know, at some point that's gonna connect.
Wow, look at all this. They can't,
This is
this
cheesy.
is so annoying. This is so
cheese.
annoying.
This
These
is-
illusions do so much damage also. Like, those illusions are doing at least 200 damage before they die on the heroes.
Yeah, it's like 600, 700 damage. I want to say, if you don't kill them, and they just maul you for the full duration.
And CK has the money for his heart, but he's not going to buy. He's going to wait in case he needs buyback, so smart choice by him. He's probably going to need it if he dies in this fight.
Yeah, actually, there are 6 heroes with buyback. Do we have Boots of Travel on the field? I don't think we have any on the Dire. Obviously, the Radiant don't really need them. Era's got a DD rune. It is a fresh DD. He just popped it. The wave will die. This is silly. GK. Hani getting stunned, but it's only a 2-second. Maybe if that's 4 seconds. They really got to counter-initiate. I don't know how they go in first, but he's actually just going to throw away the Aegis just to bring this damn tower down. That's spam. Holy crap, that's spam. The turtling power of these guys. The tower will fall, though. Makes this life a little bit more dangerous. PL gets silenced, but not really the hero you want to initiate on. I feel it's got to be the Darkseer. If you kill the Darkseer, you just win the fight.
Yeah, and this is actually a nice play. I mean, WhA Asian isn't really getting caught out, and PL is nuking the mag down so he can't blink in. Look at these illusions.
At the same time, isn't Fnatic pretty much playing this perfectly, too? Now they give the cheese
Yeah,
to
they
Hani.
are.
They're not committing anything. They've got so much counter-initiate. How do you start the fight? 2 seconds still on Trixie. That is not enough. Oh, the reverse polarity actually baited that one out. Now Shadow Fiend comes in, unwinds, drops the Requiem Black
Oh,
Hole.
God.
They just whiffed every single ult in a matter of seconds. Ravage, the only one not used. Oh, God. This looks to be an absolute disaster. Ravage is here. We'll catch a few. Trixie jumps in. Oh, sorry. He didn't reverse polarity. He canceled the cast mid-animation. So now he's got it, and that wins them a huge fight. Instant buyback from everyone in this game. Oh, it looked like he cast it, Sam, but he actually animation canceled it. There was a
Yeah.
reverse polarity. In the end, I was the one who was fooled, and I think we as Asian were fooled too.
That was actually probably the best scenario for WhA Asian. They wasted all their ultimates, and then they got baited in. They could have just... I don't know, like... That basically delayed Fnatic's push another 5 minutes if they just backed and didn't rush. But then they all rushed in and they got RP'd, and it was just awful. But... They wasted what BKB Black Hole. They wasted an SF ulti. They wasted, actually that was all they wasted. But
And the Aegis.
yeah, and the Aegis. So they could have just stayed back and just kept turtling and turtling and turtling. And PL had 2K or 3K close to there, and he could have gotten his next item, and that would have helped. But instead he had to buy back. And CK, I think CK died too. CK died too. This CK is really, really poor. He's 1-6-1. I don't know. He's probably dreading his item choice right now.
You know, the other thing about Heart is it's not the easiest item to build. Reaver, it's so hard to farm on a hero like CK, whereas BKB, it's even if it was the same cost, which it's not, but the components are just so much easier to complete. I feel like he would have had it a long time ago and been able to buy back if, you know, if he was able to buy it in 1,000 gold chunks, but keeps on losing so much gold to deaths. How do you feel about this game now? Shadow Fiend does continue to get bigger, but he's pretty much capped out. He's got, I guess he could get rid of the Blink, maybe get Boots of Travel. There are a few changes he can make to his inventory, but they're all going to be rather costly and limit his utility in some other way. Fnatic,
I think he should try to go for the Satanic. I think I love Satanic with the Butterfly usually. Or you can go for the Daedalus who just wants pure DPS. Depends. But he did go for the Butterfly over the Daedalus. Honestly, I don't think it matters hugely. I mean, with the Daedalus, the CK and the PL's physical DPS isn't going to be doing as much. So it's going to give him less burst damage, but more survivability and more attack speed in the fights.
They're also about to get, this might be the bigger item, is that Trixie reverse polarity. He's been money 2 fights in a row now. So, a third fight where he's money, and he has a double RP. Yeah, that's scary. That's scary stuff. I really like the butterfly in this game, because also we has Asians. They don't really have a natural hex carrier. Sure, I guess Keeper of the Light or Twin-Headed Dragon could build one, but they're not farming well enough to do it, so... He's guaranteed to get the evasion. There's no Chronosphere. There's nothing that removes the evasion. So then it becomes a pretty annoying item to have to deal with.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, what We Has Asian is going to be able to do right now. Fnatic has a huge lead in items. Like you said, they have all their core items and more right now. They have the refresher on the mag and within 400 gold or so. Nightstalk has his BKB now with the nags. So he just got the BKB last, but now he can just run in and not worry about getting stunned and getting mana leaked and whatever, and getting ice path. Oh, Darkseer might be in trouble.
It all sounds amazing. Uh-oh, this is the one thing they can't afford. Well, he'll be okay. And I guess it's time to start keeping track of buybacks again, because it's been a couple minutes since that last fight. Mag, well, 2.5 minutes to go, but I feel like by the time the next fight breaks out, it'll be up. You know, there's the ultra late game cheese, where you just stack cheese on all of your heroes. I feel like we're getting to that point where this is not quite the ultra late game, but there's just so many weird ways you can try and break open a game that's turned into a stalemate. Anything in your bag of tricks that you might turn to in this situation?
Honestly, it's farm jungle. I don't know. Like, it's going to be hard. I mean, they can push again, have the Aegis this time, so it's going to be harder. But they do have the cheese, and they do have the core items. So I think they're just waiting for the refresher. He has it right now, so he should bring that out in the chicken whenever he can.
No buyback, although if you're pushing, that's not really going to help you without bits of travel, and he's not getting them anytime soon. Enigma's up to 3.5k. Maybe we're going to see No Tail go for a refresher of his own. If you can't wipe the enemy team with 2 black holes, 2 reverse polarities, a Ravage, I don't know what to say at that point. Then it's an impenetrable defense, but, well, more on that later. The siege begins, the illusions bringing... Look at these illusions. They are so freaking obnoxious. Now Tide's eating them, and as quickly as you kill them, more spawn. This is... I feel like I'm watching mosquitoes
is basically healed from full down. God, this CK is just in the worst situation. I mean, he's done nothing all game. He's just throwing out these stuns. He hasn't farmed. He hasn't... Yeah, I feel really bad for him. He has no items. Like, he had free farm mid, and this is all he has to show for it.
I feel really bad for his team as well, because, well, he's not able to really do a whole lot for them. But they're not actually damaging the Rex much right now. Last time we saw them just throw away an Aegis to commit. So they let Hani just sit in the front lines, lose the Aegis, that's okay, but now it's cheese, where, in theory, if the combo comes at the right time, maybe you don't get it off. Another stun. Can they bring Trixie down? That's the one thing they really do lack. We as Asians can spam all day, but they can't kill you unless you overcommit. Because they don't have a Hex, they don't have any sort of long-term lockdown. But they can just spam all day, and that is what they're doing so far.
PL has his Manta right now. He's still not going to be able to do a huge amount of DPS to the SF just because SF has his Butterfly. So he's going to need the MKB or his own Butterfly to maybe combat him. I don't know. At this point, I think PL needs the Butterflies too. PL with Butterfly is so good.
Then what do you do? I mean, even if you get an MKB, you can't focus all of the illusions down. So
yeah, so it's not worth it. He still needs the Butterfly, but Fnatic is just gonna go back and farm. This is so annoying. I wish PL was split pushing more though. Like, I know he can spam the wave back, but he should try and go top right now.
Well, they have Keeper of the Light. He can recall it.
Yeah, Kodo can recall it. But the problem is they also need him to spam the wave down with his Spirit Lance.
Right, like they also want to create that army of illusions before, because if Fnatic breach the high ground and you don't have the army of illusions, even if he creates them, the damage might already be done. I think Glyph is back up. Yeah, they have Glyph and the Rack's back to full HP. Well, it's not back to square one quite, but we've come full circle to some extent. Darkseer is... God, he still doesn't have a pipe. Everybody is just so poor on this Radiant side. Sure, they're turtling, they're not losing Racks. But they continue not to farm. I mean, Chaos Knight, how long has he been building this heart? 20 minutes? 20 minutes? I mean, it's not even his fault.
It's like, what? He got the drums at, what, like 18 minutes? He got a pretty late drum. So he's been building this for basically 35 minutes at this point. Like,
it's not even, like, again, it's not his fault. It's just the hero can't do anything
I don't know. I think it is his fault because he went for the heart anyways in the first place.
Yeah. Okay, you'll blame him for not getting the BKB then. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to blame him for the BKB.
Well, speaking of items that make BKB somewhat useless, they do have a refresher orb up on Trixi. Has Enigma spent his gold? Nope. Still 3.8k for No Tail. Still chillin', grillin' like a villain. Is this Roche number 4? This is Roche number 4. What's the most Roshans we've ever seen in one game? I think the record in Dota 2 is like 8 or 9.
Do you remember what game it was?
It was some crazy Asian game. I think Lumi cast it. That's how I remember it. ldD versus IG, but like a while ago, not recently.
I remember. I think I remember. It was like this game where the Leshrac versus the Morphling and all these like really farmed heroes. I think.
Yeah, and that game, I think that went like over 90 minutes or close to it anyway.
Yeah, I remember that game. It was pretty epic. I think it was ldD versus DK actually.
Ah, yes, that sounds very familiar. And it was burning. Just, I think he even carried that one. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, with his Morphling.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been a while. But with Darkseer, there is always hope, and that seems to be...
CK, come on, let's count on the timer to his heart.
That
2900, 400 goal, man. Oh, team fight's gonna happen before he gets it.
Oh no! And even if the courier flies out,
he should really just go sell his bottle for it, please, man. Go sell your bottle for it.
Well, he's also got a regen, and they see him top, so they're gonna commit to this. They're gonna force him back. They can recall him, I believe. Spirit Form has not been used yet. Silence on the Phantom Lancer. In comes Eris. Trixi surges in. Has not used RP number 1 yet. Now he's getting nuked down. He's getting... Oh, now he's Diffusal Blade as well. 4-second stun. He may be forced to cheese. Not just yet. Waiting. Biding his time. The wall already dropped. Trixi dropping low. Gotta cheese, man. Gotta cheese, man. He will cheese. He charges through the wall. Ramage on everyone. RP number 1. And the Shadow Pheno. There's the raises. Buyback should be coming momentarily. Where is RP number 2? He's still alive. He's low. He refreshes. Was this a mistake, though? He's gonna die, and he just blew his refresher orb. One more nuke. Oh, no. It goes on to No Tail. Unicorn driving everyone back. They already used the black hole. No Tail. I think it got canceled immediately. Did he BKB? I think BKB was on cooldown, so looks like the black hole got blown. Are they really turtling this out? Are they seriously going to win this by turtling?
More importantly, CK is another 15 gold away from his BKB. I mean, heart.
Oh, he bought back again. Brutal. Brutal. He's got to, though. They need him.
Yep. Sad story.
That was really nice though, the way they kind of played with Trixi there. Like they knew he was gonna jump in, and once he jumped in and couldn't get them with the skewer, they just started kiting him and slowing him. You get Ice Pat, you get Dual Breath, you get Diffused. It's just like all the abilities. And this is that late game scenario you and I have discussed. Is we as Asian, sure they don't have team fight, but Fnatic aren't the same team without theirs. And right now, Black Hole's on cooldown, Ravage is on cooldown. They have 1 RP. But that's the hardest one to hit of all, I think, because, well, you just spread out. And they get a tier 2. Well, they haven't fully come back yet. It's still all up to this one Phantom Lancer, pretty much. They don't have any other damage besides him. Incredible that this game is so even. Score 20-5, and the graph's really favoring Fnatic, but it doesn't feel like it.
I mean, regardless of what they have, the problem is PL is going to outcarry SF late game. Unless he gets totally, like, womboed, comboed in every ultimate, just because of how much physical damage he does with his illusions, and SF is not going to be able to physically AoE down those all within the duration.
If only he could cleave with his auto attacks, then he'd be golden.
Oh, shit. Those illusions have gem, so they have true vision on them. So that totally messed up their smoke. That was actually pretty big.
Yeah, that could have been a game-changing smoke, because now the ults have just about had time to cool down. Did he just reverse polarity by mistake? Oh, Trixi. Trixi, to say it ain't so, man. He just RP'd the ground.
He's going under the pressure, dude. Pressure's getting to him. This is annoying to play versus. Like, when you're playing in this situation, they're just gonna run in.
Oh, and they don't have reverse polarity?
They're gonna get the...
Who's got buyback? Was that a key kill? No split push. Or actually, there's a split push mid. Rex dropping fast. They just want to get the Rex and get out. They don't want to have a long fight without the reverse polarity, although the refresher's cooling down, so it will be up soon. They got 1 lane of Rex. Assault, speaking of farm Tidehunters, Assault freaking Cuirass up on our 5-position Tidehunter 50 minutes into this game. And they get the racks, and that's after blowing the reverse polarity before the fight broke out. Best part, he's got the refresher off cooldown. So in 60 seconds, he gets to try it all over again with the full double reverse polarity combo.
So many times I've just seen the CK just farming the Ancients in top lane, just trying to get this heart. He's gonna try and...
I feel like this needs to be a video. Like, have you seen the funny videos on the mainstream with 2GD and the guys?
Yeah.
There needs to be a funny video about the CKs. Like, wah, 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 over and over.
He's gonna get ganked. The guy has Aghanims. Okay, Air's not running up there, but yeah. God, it's just pitiful. Like, just not pitiful as in like what he's doing, just like annoying for him probably right now. He's probably like,
right.
He's feeling awful right now.
Well, it's just
he actually has like decent amount of CS, like 215 CS should be enough to get the heart. But he's died so many times, and they have barely like.
Speaking of dying, Hadi hasn't died yet this game. He is 10-0-11 on his Shadow Fiend, which rushed a Blink Dagger against the team of nukes and decent chasing abilities. His control has been pretty superb this game.
Yep. But the problem is that he should try and sell this Blink Dagger. Like, it's not really helping him right now. Obviously, he can bring in, but right now his main DPS is his right clicks.
What do you buy? I guess a Daedalus?
I think he needs a Daedalus. I don't know. Daedalus is still the best item on SF just because of the amount of burst damage. And he's a double damage right now.
Speaking of burst damage, but not going to go in just yet. Even Trixi's starting to go back towards, I don't know if it's a carry build, but definitely getting some new items up. He's got a Reaver. Uh-oh. Tommy Unicorn, this is rather bold. He actually is going to try to go onto Shadow Fiend. I think he's trying to bait something out here. Blink in Black Hole, catching out Unicorn. Ravage as well. Now, Cry being focused down, force staffing forward onto him. Where is the Magnetar through all of this? They saw him bottom. That's why they initiated. In comes Chaos Knight, but he feels a little bit puny right now. Unwinding, and look at the burst damage. Magnetar is here. Still yet to use reverse polarity, and already one buyback forced. Chaos Knight dead, and I think finally out of buybacks on his own right. Now HHMP being brought down. Fnatic are finally breaking through the seemingly unbreakable wall.
CK is
Bump back again.
the farthest away from his heart now. He has 800 gold. He has a heart recipe in the chicken. Come on, dude. Just sell the freaking heart recipe. Sell the vid booster. Just get something else. This is not your item. God does not want you to get a heart this game.
God hates CK, apparently.
Yeah.
My God. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. You know, while he's trying to farm his heart, the PL's picked up like 4 more items. The Shadow Fiend's added a completed Butterfly. He's sitting on 7k gold. Enigma's about to get a Refresher Orb. This is like everybody at school has like a delicious meal and you've got a bag of chips. You know, like they've all got like a gourmet 5-course just
anything that just shows how annoying it is with DK. If you don't get the early start, like it's literally impossible to farm with this hero if you're down. Because you have no AoE nuke. You have no, like, every carry at least has something to splash or do something, but CK is just his main single target hero. Obviously, if you get the items, you do a shit ton of damage, but poor guy.
Trixi with a heart now. They're getting to a point where this is like this is the perfect item for sieging out of base, because you drop low, you back off, you heal up, you go back in. And how many hearts are they going to have? I imagine Era's going for a Scythe of Ice, I think. Maybe even a Manta style.
But PL does have his Butterfly right now, so that's actually really, really big. That makes...
Is it?
Yeah, they have no physical damage right now to actually take him down. If you saw last fight, Hani was attacking him like literally for a full like 20 seconds, but he only took like 1/4 of his damage just because of how much HP he has.
Well, they might have a Scythe of Ice soon on Era though, and then he's gonna melt. I mean, without that evasion. And while there's some decent minus armor with the Shadow Fiend presence of the Dark Lord. You've got the Gush from Tidehunter. You've got Assault Caress. So I feel like if he gets hexed, he's toast. And that's sort of one of the weaknesses of PL as a late game carry is he's not a hero that you build BKB on, so he's never got safe magic immunity. It's all about just having an unkillable army of illusions. But is he unkillable if he doesn't have that evasion and they focus him? 2700 HP, it sounds like a lot, but Shadow Fiend's probably critting with Empower. Oh, no, not critting, because he hasn't spent his gold yet. Would be critting. Hasn't bought anything yet. Well, okay, maybe, never mind. Maybe it will be enough for the moment. Until they spend their gold.
But, I was just pushing away top. Did he get his butter? He didn't buy it yet. I think he just wants to save for buyback, possibly, but I think he should just get the Butterfly.
Well, because it's not like it just makes the one hero stronger. It makes your whole army that much stronger.
The illusions actually are not killing the wave as quickly as I thought, just because they don't have that much damage. I mean, once he gets a butterfly, it's going to be pretty big, but he's taking the chicken right now to probably buy it. It's definitely not the CK. Oh, look, the CK surrendered. He went the plate mail.
Did he sell the recipe finally?
No, the recipe. Oh, actually, let me check.
I
don't know.
I don't see.
I think
I don't see anything. Yeah, I think he did sell it.
I think he sold it. Poor guy. He just tried, tried, and tried, and tried, and tried again, and then tried again, and he couldn't get it at the end.
Let me ask you, sort of looking beyond this game, let's say we as Asians lose this game, which right now, by all rights, they shouldn't be able to come back. Or if they come back, it's going to have to be like a pretty epic comeback, just because of Fnatic having WhA in control, having map control, having the bottom lane Rex. Like, how do you sort of get ready for game 2 after a grueling game like this, which felt like it probably was over at like the 20-minute mark, even if it wasn't even earlier perhaps? Like, what's the thought process for a player in this situation on the side of we as Asians?
They're just like, okay, whatever, we have nothing to lose right now. Like, I mean, obviously most of them probably thought, okay, we're so screwed early game. It's not like, I mean, we're just gonna have that endlessly turtle. So that's what they tried and do. They tried and do. Oh my god, another cheese. How many cheeses is this?
This is cheese number 3. They now have 2 cheeses, and they're just like...
SF's
really?
Gonna go down?
Oh
Wow.
man, that is not how you start the fight. They don't have the Shadow Fiend here. This could be a really bad engagement, or maybe not. Look at all the ults, so many ults, so many freaking ults, all the ults in the world. Black Hole number 2, Refresher on No Tail, Ravage number 2. They don't have, but isn't enough without the Shadow Fiend. He fought back. He's trying to rejoin the fight, storming down middle lane. They're winning this fight without Shadow Fiend. That gotta be it.
Of the items. That was because of No Tails. Two black holes there. And the PL actually ran into the black hole for some reason. He could have actually just stayed outside and gotten away, but...
He has the butterfly, and he bought back, and he's got 2k gold.
Yeah, so yeah, I think right now Fnatic basically... EK can't buy back, Darkseer can't buy back. They're basically... This PL is not going to be able to solo carry this. Like I said, like 30 minutes ago, this game's just going to come down to farm, and then Fnatic, WhA has Asian, loses some team fight, and they lose. All the setup for nothing.
Don't chase him, really? Well, they're going to go for it. I think this is a mistake. You could just be Raxing. They're not dead forever. They're up in 15, and you don't have your big team finals, but they're diving the fountain. Fnatic's maybe a little mad about how long it's taken them to end this game. At least they want some sweet, sweet kills before it's all said and done. Well, they do drive them back to the fountain, but now the respawn's about to come. Darkseer, no wall for 30 seconds. I guess it's going to be enough time. 2 lanes of Rex, and as good at turtling as WhA has Asians is, this is about to be potentially mega creeps. No, Hani blinks away. They only get 1 lane of Rex off of that. I really feel they should have been able to do a bit more. Now Trixi gets defused, has the Aegis, pulls PL up on the high ground. What a play from Trixi. Trixi, man, just pulling things off here. Now the Scythe of Ice, Tommy dropping a lot, or Unicorn dropping a lot quicker without that evasion. 4 staff onto the low ground, might actually be able to get away. Hani blinks forward, Hani out for blood, tagging almost by himself. The damn PL brings Hani down to half HP from about a 20th of his own. Hani gets stunned, has the evasion, will pop the cheese, jumping back in. The poor CK, this guy is never gonna finish. Oh, the ruse to clean up that kill. He is never finishing this hard. Like,
yeah, it's over right now. They can't. Okay.
There you go. Well,
that was actually, I don't know if the CK did better in this game. Like, I'm not gonna call him out or anything, but actually I am probably calling him out. But if he did better this game, they could have honestly won. But he has no items to show for all this farm, and considering he should be one of the heroes that has the BKB and be able to do something. Yeah, this PL was basically 1v5ing with the Kodo Blast. That was essentially all this game was. Kodo blasting every wave, then PL nuking it and farm.
You know, I also feel like it was just the Chaos Knight as a pick. Like, how does it fit into their mid-game plans? They pick turtling supports, Keeper of the Light, Twin-Headed Dragon. If you tri-lane, they do some good damage, but later on, it's not like you have a Wisp. You don't really have supports that complement that CK and allow him to do what he's best at, which is hero kill. Well, whatever the reasons might be, after an hour-long marathon of a game, which felt like it was going to be Fnatic's game, possibly after the draft and certainly after the 10-minute mark, they do pull away with it. There was 1 death for Captain Hani this game. At least I think he's the captain of the squad. He is doing the drafts either way. Hani looking real strong. Bit of a comeback for him in Dota 2. He slams WhA has Asians. This was only game number 1. This is a best out of 3. I'm LD. Of course, he's Bulba. Be sure to follow him and support him. I think it is twitter.com/bulbadota.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys enjoy Bulba's casting, be sure to support him Not on an official team now, but that may change in the future. Hopefully it does. Really great to have you aboard, Bulba, or Sam, as it might be. I'm LD. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Game 1 complete. Game 2 coming up soon.